Presidente.
But they can fix things like if you got a broken plastic slide, you fix it.
Oh.
I'm also doing a local recording on the laptop in case the internet decides to fail us, which running
Odds
the
are
speed,
pretty good.
The speed test did not look good earlier. Let's just put it that way. Gonna go ahead and call me in order with roll call. Joe Bachman here, Morgan McCabe.
Here.
Tony Martin.
Here.
Trelina Bachman.
Here.
Dave Anderson.
Here.
Do I have a motion to approve the May 2025 minutes?
I will make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. No ordinances. Old business. 55th anniversary of Twin Oaks Park celebration. I'm thinking if we're going to be tackling the CDBG and trying to get everything lined up for that, we really want to try and do the celebration also. Do we have the people already lined up?
We have one person.
I'm kind of thinking we forego the celebration and
Or reschedule.
or short, yeah.
I mean, we just
So-
picked an arbitrary date. It didn't have
Yeah.
anything to do with the park
Yeah,
formation or anything that I'm aware of.
yeah, no,
Other than it was this month, I think. I think it
Yeah,
was
it
June.
was just a
Yeah.
convenient month.
yeah. there was no
When do they
significance
go,
to it.
when do kids go back to school?
August.
The beginning of August?
Yeah.
Wow, that passed.
Yeah,
They got short. They only have June and July off now.
Yeah,
yeah.
Poor kiddos.
Because so it's gonna be July before our funds in the building fund are appropriated. So, because they have to put out a legal notice that we're reappropriating funds, and the council has to read it twice, approve it twice, et cetera, et cetera.
Gotcha.
So it'll be at least that long before we technically have the money to spend on the building. But we need to get the snack shack, cleared out or whatever we want to keep and put into the storage container. We have to get NIPSCO out there to disconnect the power and gas.
Didn't Robert say he'd help us out on that
Uh,
On what?
as far as knocking it down?
well,
Somebody's-
he offered just run the
Right.
There was an from,
from Boots wanting the building, which I talked to him today when I was getting the password for the Wi-Fi and everything.
Mhm.
He's going to talk to Kenny to see if he can still take it away. If not, we will have to figure in demo into the
Mhm.
thing. But talking with Jason Ryder earlier when he was at town hall, he said that if we could look into having that particular building condemned, we could then use part of the money as blight money and have that cover the demolition of the building.
Yeah, but how fast could that happen?
From what he said, fairly fast. It's just a matter of redoing the application and, them
who has
submitting
to make the decision on whether it's condemned? Us?
That I don't know.
Possibly you.
Right.
As the
Poss-
That'd be all right.
Possibly, John Cricketha as
As-
building
As
inspector.
building inspector, which it may have to come before the planning commission too.
Yeah,
or planning commission. maybe.
Yeah.
So it just has to be at town
Approved.
level, not county.
To my knowledge, yes.
okay.
So that's something I'll look into. But if Boots still wants it and Kenny's willing to come and grab it and haul it off, awesome.
Yeah,
Jason did say that we can do the draws, like if we,
Finance it.
well, not exactly finance it. It's say Lou comes out to do the electrical and gives us an invoice. I hand that invoice into county. We pay Lou, we hand the invoice in the county cuts us the check for that. So, because my main concern was the money, being tied up fully
For a long,
for a long time, like we would have to spend our full 29,000 before we got any back.
but they said they would do it on a rolling basis.
I guess they do that all the time, is especially with the larger towns and larger projects, he said, yeah, it's not unusual for us to get the information from Milestone for, putting in ADA sidewalks and, cutting them a check for 100,000 out of the 500,000 for the grant, So,
Okay.
because that was my other main concern was how, if it was being able to do that. So we do have $37,746 total from CDBG between
37467
37746.
746.
Sorry, three, one
Okay, a
more
little
time.
dyslexia on my part,
One
sorry.
more time. please.
37746.
And that's for essentially both grants, right?
Yeah, so that's what we got. So what we got this year from county was 26,253. CDBG rollover from the previous time was 10,192. And then local funds, they just had $1,301 on there because, well, that's all we have, I think, really appropriated in the building fund right now
Okay, so that's
Okay, so
what's
that-
available to us.
That is available to us
from county.
from county.
So if we
Now, do we still have a building fund?
do, because the money that we use for the playground went right back into there. So in that fund, we have $28,900.25 total.
28.
$28,925.
Nice.
Hang on,
Gotta
I'm gonna
get
make
that
that little
Get
25.
that quarter in there.
Get that quarter in there.
Okay.
Don't know where the hell we got a quarter from to put in the
So-
building fund.
Overall,
56.
25.
So I hear some math happening. I can smell burning rubber.
Right, so that's a
Somebody's going to
six,
tell us
carry the one. that's
theoretically
Six, carry the
how
one.
much we could spend.
So we have $66,646.25 overall.
So that's theoretically,
That's what we could spend on a building.
Community center.
Yes.
Whoa,
Okay.
so now my
an
question
embarrassment of riches.
would be,
How
can we
handle
use that as a down payment? And then go on a payment plan in the future, or in case these buildings,
So I don't know
okay,
because they like, I don't know that it can be used for financing stuff. It's more of a,
complete project.
this is the complete project being done. Because doing it as a finance thing, would basically, let's say something happened to where the Parks Department couldn't make the payment
Mhm.
and essentially the building gets repossessed. Well, how's that gonna look on county?
Yeah,
You
not
know,
good.
Mhm.
They like completed projects. They can click in the win column and go on and forget about it.
right,
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, a total of 66K
yeah,
is not,
that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not
That's
bad.
more than we had
That's a usable
anticipated.
number.
Although, with the other building process, we were looking more like 40, so.
Right,
But the cost of things has gone up, so this is probably, we're still in the same arena in terms of what we can install and get
Mhm.
accomplished with
Yeah.
the money because of increases. When do we have to begin the work by? Can we get through lunch and learn without having to have construction take place?
yes.
Okay,
Okay.
so you're thinking of taking,
I want to hear what he has to say about this.
So, because like I said, we have to wait until July anyway to even get the building fund reappropriated. Because we didn't get the check from county, the refund check, until after the first of the year. So when they did our budget for the building fund, we only had like $1,500 roughly in it. So that's all they could appropriate us for at that point, whatever the hell we spent. That money's in there, it's just, it wasn't appropriated, so that's why the council has to reappropriate that money. So that won't happen until July, because Tammy had to post it in the newspaper, and she didn't have a chance to get it in there in time to catch it on this month's council meeting. But she's got it in the paper now, so we're good
Okay.
for July. They have to do 2 readings of it, and we'll have access to the money then at that point. So essentially after middle of July is the earliest we could start even like paying for anything related to this building.
Okay. So
Um,
that leaves us clear.
Yeah, but
Um,
we still need to get a hold of NIPSCO to have them come out to cap off the gas. We need to have them come out and de-energize the power to that building. We need to get the refrigerator out, AC low voltage out there to take down the cameras.
Need to pull off whatever mural pieces we want to try to archive and save and use.
Right.
Which won't take long.
So
Can we put those on the Connex building?
Good. I think we're going to put them in it. And then when we get our new building, we're going to find
We
something
could,
cool.
but that would be, they're not really that stable. They weren't meant to last a really long time, so they'll be better off interior decoration.
I think it's
Not
okay.
all of them are salvageable on the snack shack.
mhm.
Because part of them are part of the
Building, blah,
snack
blah,
shack,
blah.
and part of it is on ply. So the ones on ply we can retrieve. The ones that aren't on plywood, we'll just go with the building, I assume. Or
We'll take
unless
a-
we're gonna try to take the siding off.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll have to take a look at that.
Charge them extra for that art.
Right.
We should. We could.
All right.
I don't know if it
So.
would work out so
reason
well.
You don't want to do the 55th in July, it just is because if
June.
we get busy, start doing this. in
That was
June.
scheduled for June 21st.
Yeah.
So between now and less than, 19 days from now, we need to be concentrating on developing a plan for the new building so that we can get it submitted, so that we could conceivably get this project accomplished
Mhm.
before winter sets in.
Okay.
So it does seem logical to reschedule the 55th anniversary. Can we still do it this year? Would be my next question. If we get this turned in time to meet ends, then the work is going to get turned over to other people, right?
Right.
And it takes forever to get NIPSCO to come out and do anything.
Apparently.
Well, I'm hoping Sue can use her contact that she used for the town hall to get them out there quickly for the parks.
Did they depower town hall?
Well, depowering the town hall wasn't the issue. It was capping the gas line. They told Sue, oh, well, yeah, well, we can do that. It'll be 3 to 6 months.
That's what I was wondering, if that had even been done.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the people that she's known politically for years, she happened to see him in a newspaper article with they're at some union, strike thing, and she saw him there, and the paper said, oh, he's a union president or one of the union stewards for NIPSCO. So she called him up and said, hey, here's what's going on. And he goes, yeah, no, they'll be out this week. Don't worry.
I mean, it's not
And-
that big of a pipe, is it? I mean, it's just a cap and
2
we're
inches.
not demoing it. It's gonna stay, right?
Well, we're not going to use
No, we're not going to
use gas
gonna
anymore.
go all
on the new-
We're going to go all electric.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's the plan, at any rate. Yeah.
It's still, you wouldn't think it would be that big of a deal. Come
You
on.
wouldn't
Just a
think.
freaking,
Yeah,
Well, you
dig
would
it down
think
a
it would
little bit,
take them
cap
a
it, and
month to come
walk
out
away.
and mark the little areas for planting trees,
Well,
in, but
that's-
it did.
that's Gridhawk.
Yeah, that was
That's
good.
that's nothing to do with NIPSCO.
Oh, Because
Yeah.
all sorts of people had to sign off on it. I mean, it listed
Mm,
NIPSCO, it listed Comcast, it listed Frontier, it listed multiple entities.
Yeah, well, they sign off on it, but they contract out, like,
Gotcha, okay.
these
I didn't know how that
companies.
worked, so.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Gridhawk
no.
is a contractor, basically. They basically get the call and, get a job list that day of, here's all the places you need to go mark. By the way, have fun. One of these is a 5 mile walk and you still got, 5 other jobs.
Yeah. Well, so we had, I mean, could we conceivably, that event doesn't have to be that elaborate. We could do it still, but do it in July.
Right.
Once we get to mid-July, we should have everything in place. We could do it the last weekend in July, the first weekend in August.
Yeah, August or even September.
And that would also give us more time to prepare for it and to get the word out about it. So it would be like if we did it,
Yeah, because we have no word out about it right now.
none,
We have one person lined up to speak,
yeah.
and
26th or August 2nd.
yeah, because we don't have signs or banners
No,
for it.
we don't have an entertainment lined up
Yeah,
because we've all been a
we've all
little
been so
under the
busy.
gun.
That's why I'm thinking,
Yeah.
because here's the other thing. Let's say we get all this lined up.
Mhm.
We're ready to rock and roll. Do we want to have a construction site going on while trying to do this event?
Well,
You know,
aren't these prefabs that we're looking at?
right?
They come in, they pour a pad.
But I don't know the whole.
Right.
I
No,
don't
I'm
know
just,
how
I'm,
involved it's going to be.
yeah, I don't either.
It,
So that-
it could be that, yeah, we'll just have a blank concrete pad sitting there, or we might have a
They could
gaping
be
hole.
they could be pouring that day.
Well,
Yeah.
they probably
On a
won't be pouring
Saturday?
on if we do it on a Sunday, they might not. But nonetheless, I think it might even be just exciting, the fact that it's occurring. I mean,
We
can do
have
this-
5 acres, so we could move to another area.
Sure,
We
go
can
to the
put,
South Pavilion.
Right.
or put tents out in the field.
If
Well,
we,
the
if we
problem with
move
the
it,
South Pavilion is if it rains prior to that, that's flooded.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, dear. I'm sorry.
if we move it to end of July, early August, that could be like the last hurrah before school starts.
Mhm.
So we might get more interest that way, especially if we really
Yeah.
push for it.
Well, let's not, okay, so let's could we tentatively schedule it for that second week or that first weekend in August, say the 2nd? Which would-
we need to either commit to doing it so that we get the signs, we get the banners, we get the promotion out, or, I mean,
Well, yeah, but do we need to commit today? Could we give it one more week and see what kind of information we can collect about if they, who, or 2 weeks even, and then go? I mean, we're
Mhm.
moving it more than a month. So we're giving ourselves, like we were considering we would be doing this on June 21st and we're talking about it on the 3rd.
right,
So we're giving ourselves, all of June and most of July, all of July to do it.
yeah.
So we could even allow ourselves 2 to 3 weeks to collect information and then say, yes, we're definitely committing to this date and then publicizing it immediately.
Yeah, I'm,
Just a possibility. I'm not saying,
because we're just doing, we're gonna have the person speaking, we're gonna have, check, see if City Tacos is available.
no, they were tentative for they thought they would like to do that one.
Okay,
But they were kind of not,
Yeah.
but
Oh, Labor Day is September 1st.
This is a month.
Oh,
before.
oh, yeah.
month
Yeah.
Looking at August 2nd.
I'm sorry,
We're
I'm
not
very
gonna- We're
tired.
not gonna get into
I'm
that
very
yet.
tired.
so
We should find out when school starts again.
well, if it's on
Should be-
Saturday,
should be a couple weeks after Lunch and Learn, I think ends. So wasn't it like 2 weeks last year? It was like Lunch and Learn, and then it was like a week or two later.
Yeah, it starts early in August, not much
Yeah.
earlier than you would think. It used to be mid-August, now it's early August.
I'm looking.
Yeah.
But it's a weekend, so school days are not really an issue. People will be, if they probably won't be out of town that weekend,
Right.
if school begins on the 4th.
Yeah.
They'll be
So-
going shopping and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, those are viable dates. It would still give
So-
us 6 to 8 weeks to plan.
Yeah. So what, I mean, what else do we want to plan on? I mean, we got the speaker, possibly music.
We wanted other guest speakers, but I wasn't sure who we were considering for that.
Yeah.
Sue, obviously. I mean, if we can make,
Sue, somebody from the council, the gentleman that gave us all the information.
that's the guy I have
Yeah.
lined up.
What,
I think we were gonna keep it kind of simple. We could, if, as Tony said, use it also as an opportunity to, say, but this has been, look, we've broken ground for a new building here. You can't walk on it yet, or you don't fall into it, please, we have it roped off. But this is gonna be, so we can use that as kind of a celebratory thing too, to say, yeah, we couldn't do it 5 years ago. We couldn't build a building 5 years ago. We couldn't celebrate 5 years ago, but look what's happening now. I don't know. There's
Well,
angles to it that,
And you bring up a good point. If we do this, we need to do a groundbreaking event too. We need to put that on the schedule. We need to do a golden shovel, Sue and the whole council and you and everybody poking a shovel in the ground, take some pictures.
yeah, I don't think we need to go that far with
I
it.
think that's-
oh yeah,
I
we
think we
should.
do. It's a big deal for the town this size. And it may coincide that we could make it happen on the same day. Or if not, it'll happen, whatever. I mean,
Yeah,
it takes a half an hour.
yeah,
It's not like.
I mean, we can, we could, we
I
could
just hate
combine these,
change.
how they shoveled out the pond and, while we do it could streamline it in some respects. So that would make it mid-July then when we did that, if that's when we could begin the work.
So let's, we need to do
Or-
some more research over the next couple of weeks. I
Yeah.
think you're right.
yeah.
Yeah, we need
Because
to
it-
know, have more details,
Because
obviously.
a lot of it's
but-
a lot of the demo is gonna be dependent on NIPSCO, because all of
Mhm.
NIPSCO stuff has to be done
Before.
we can even talk about putting a shovel in the ground.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
So if
all right, so
Sue can
I'll,
call in another favor, that would be great.
yeah. So we are in agreement then of, we're looking at doing the building. What date next week would work for folks? Besides Wednesday night, because we can't do it Wednesday night.
In the paper.
I think for this, we only need a 2-day notice. So if we have, we have the 9th, 10th, 12th, and 13th available next week.
I will be on
be
11 to
11
7 next week,
Yeah,
but I will probably be available via phone.
Would this be daytime, nighttime? When we?
If it's evening, I can do any of them. Mornings, we could do up until 11 a.m. When we need to go down, we usually go down around between 11 and 11:30.
okay.
I can do any evening after 5 p.m. except Wednesday.
Although the 13th, we may be,
Oh, 13th, yeah.
we may be at bartending or working misery or whatever.
Well, we probably wouldn't do it on a Friday night, would we?
And
Depends on ticket sales.
No, I mean,
the meeting, I
Meeting.
think
Oh,
she's
the
talking
meeting, no,
about,
we wouldn't do it
yeah.
on Friday night. You're saying.
So 9th, 10th, or 12th.
Mhm.
I would say let's do it at night. That way I can guarantee I'll be there.
Okay.
Let's do, you want to just do next Tuesday at 6 p.m.,
great. What's the date on that?
the 10th?
Can we do 6:30?
Yeah.
All right, great. Because my rehearsal goes till 5 and my director talks a lot.
Mhm.
And I got almost an hour drive with traffic
Okay.
back from Michigan City. And where are we going to do it? Here?
Yes. So 6:30 p.m. 6:10.
Marine friend know that this is postponed.
All right, so I actually kind of covered new business
Yep.
along with the 55th anniversary.
Mhm.
Um, all right, rummage in the park, September 6th. We still need to get the signs for that, which we're doing the double-sided again, right? Is that
Dark
what
in the
we-
park on one
Dark in the
side,
park.
On one side and then.
Yeah.
RIP on one side and DIP on the
Yeah.
Rip dip.
Lunch and learn update.
Off to a rip-roaring start. We had over 30 people plus adults, kids yesterday, again today. And, it was very active, very lively. But the library was there today.
Mhm.
And yesterday we did an art project. Mondays will always be art. So I think we're off to a good start. Tomorrow will be Shirley Heinz. And we have ASL and Owl Pellets on Thursday.
Nice.
And Friday is Humana.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm gonna try to work some more things in there. I'm gonna talk to a couple people and see if they feel like driving over this way to do some music, song stuff,
Nice.
or if your friend's stuff is at all
Oh.
inclined.
I'll see.
My friend's stuff may not be able to do it because of work and vocal issues, but,
Gotcha.
yeah, I think it would be fun to have a little day of singing.
Okay.
Dave, you play guitar? Want to come in and,
I do my best singing in the shower.
okay,
We'll-
well,
We'll
that
set
would
you
be a
up little
form of
shower
entertainment
with
for
a
the
little curtain.
kids.
There
No,
you
I
go.
don't think.
Oh, oh,
That's a lunch and learn.
Yeah.
Just pretend, it's fine.
Um,
Whole new meaning to lunch and learn.
Yeah, I do want to contact Joe Eakins, though. Remind me to do that, somebody, and
Okay.
see if he'll bring the fire truck
See if
over.
it-
Oh, yeah.
fire truck will be like the fire truck. Sometime in July when it's hot.
Yeah.
Squirt them with the hose.
Today
I'll
was
try to
hot.
remind you at the council meeting.
Thank you. Yeah, when Joe is there.
Smart.
Yeah.
Because I walked out of it last time going, up, I forgot.
Walking paths, I know we still need to meet with Robert on that, and he's at school right now, so I don't know how long he's gonna be at school
Oh,
this
is he
week.
back in kindergarten?
I,
That was a joke.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because he always gives me a hard time. I thought
You got assassin.
planting trees.
yeah, I need help.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need to schedule a time and a date that we can do. Saturday mornings work well
Mhm.
for us. And like we came down and did stuff at the park. I have one day, and then we have to work box office later that day. So I don't know, we could maybe squeeze it in there, but what I'd really like to do, you suggested getting a little backhoe or something that we could rent,
A little excavator.
excavator, because the amount of labor that was involved in planting the one tree in that area that I put in, it was a good hour for two of us to get through that ground and to dig a hole big enough to put a small tree in. So we need a little,
So do we
Oh,
do we want to do a little backhoe, or do we want to see if we can just rent a little auger?
Well, I was gonna
you
talk
guys
about
talk
that.
to us.
That's big auger bit there.
Well, no, I mean, if
You
go-
need more
if
than
if you
10
do a
inches.
post, a power post hole
It's
digger,
not-
and it takes two people to hold and run, but you just go, there's still some shoveling to do, but you've broken up all the ground.
Right.
If you go through in those areas and hit it, boom, 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 boom,
Mhm.
break it up, then it's easier to do. I don't know it would be a cost thing as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
I'll get prices
Sure.
from Sun Rentals down here, and we'll see,
Because the mini excavator, you've got to put it on a trailer and haul in and,
they'll deliver and pick up.
oh.
The
So-
area that we're planting, we need to plant but 9 trees in.
Okay,
The other trees all going around, that's easy. That
Yeah.
is not
Yeah.
so hard. We
That
just
took
don't want to
us-
do it on the
yeah.
very first hot day of the year.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
when I haven't eaten.
okay.
Yeah. About
Yeah,
killed
If
myself.
we have the excavator, we'll just knock them all out.
Yeah,
Oh,
then
yeah.
we'll just dig a little
Yeah,
trench over
whichever
there, pack
equipment
them
we
all
get.
around the
Yeah.
pond and be done.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I'll look at their website and get a price, and we can maybe next Tuesday during the public hearing, because it'll be an official meeting.
Right.
We can
discuss
further.
that.
discuss it and
How
Yeah.
deep you guys gotta go? 2 foot?
Pretty much.
Yeah, about that.
It's just
Um,
really hard going.
And I suspect, I know that area to the west of the garage is that's
Yeah. it's-
rubbish.
yeah,
Right, because it was a dump. The area behind the flagpoles, I suspect, is pretty much the same thing, because
Yeah.
when those 4 guys that were digging it out for the playground
mhm.
Yeah.
went and rented equipment. And they were young and brawny. So I
All
think
right.
Yeah.
we need some help there.
Yep, I'll get prices on that, and we'll discuss on 610.
We can do that, yeah. Would be good to get them done, because I don't want to lose them.
Yeah.
Okay. Renters checklist is done.
Great.
That's been, that's up there at town hall, so, I know, like I said, I know the first 2 rentals of this year, which one was this past weekend, we got one this coming Sunday also. They did not get it because they came in and
Yeah.
already,
Yeah.
signed up,
Mm.
so.
Yeah, they had asked me about that last month, so,
Mm-hmm.
and we hadn't even met to talk about that checklist yet.
Right.
So she was gonna go do it.
So yeah, that's, but that is done. Internet service, I have been looking into. I've been striking out, trying to even find decent internet service.
For
The park.
For the park, okay.
Yeah. I do have a call into T-Mobile currently, or an email into T-Mobile to see what their price is. But that's kind of an ongoing thing.
Because if we turn on the building, we'll have to, we could put it into the garage
Right.
and just set up wireless there, and then we could move it once we have our new facility, I guess, so.
Well, it's more or less just get a price until we get the new facility.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because
Mhm.
I don't know, I wouldn't want that, computer set up, the security camera system in the garage
Mhm.
while it's still extremely hot out, where it's definitely not gonna get any AC.
True.
And very,
You're
and
right.
very cold in the winter, so. it
Well,
just-
cold's not so bad on a computer. Cold is,
As cold as it gets here, it really isn't, like below freezing. It's okay.
in the garage, it's still gonna be, I mean, it's not gonna be as cold as outside, but, a computer's worst enemy is heat, because that's what's gonna fry your electronics.
Yeah. Cold, not
Mm.
the same.
Worst case scenario is you see fog coming out the exhaust. I don't.
We didn't designate somebody to do, did we?
I don't think we did.
Did we? Hang on. Hang on.
Did I volunteer and completely space out from it? I apologize.
No, we had nobody.
Okay, so.
We agreed we would do
But we
that.
just,
Yeah,
said
we-
it was a good idea.
Okay,
And
well-
left it at that.
Okay,
Put my name down, and
you're gonna take care of that? Okay,
Tony and I will,
okay.
because he talked to the lady for previous signs, I think.
This is a different person.
Oh, no, I did the previous
Yeah,
signs.
you did.
I did the municipal code
Yeah,
and the don't jump off the bridge signs.
yeah.
Stop
Please.
jumping in the goose poop soup.
So, all right, so, cool, that'll take care of that. New business, we've already talked about.
Mhm.
And for legal, that was
We
the,
already talked about.
public hearing.
Public hearing set. What did we say, Tuesday?
6:30 PM,
Yep.
Rosser Hall.
Announcements. I've got nothing.
The shingles.
Oh, that's right. That's the other thing. Shingles on the roof of the
Oh,
garage.
right, that's kind of new business, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think we should do is I do this list from Tammy
Mhm.
and call and get quotes. And what I may ask them to do is to stop out there during lunch and learn time so that one of us is actually there.
That's fine.
And have them come
so we
out.
can call 911 when they fall through the,
Yeah.
Exactly.
okay.
One, someone's there to call.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They're not stuck in there for days.
Right. I think we just start with getting quotes real quick and see what we're looking at price wise. And, we'll turn it into insurance because we're missing a lot of shingles on that roof.
Okay.
The whole, if you look at the front edge of the roof by the garage door, there's a whole
Row.
almost that
course
whole
of 'em is
row
gone.
is
Yeah.
missing there. We got several missing further back.
We've been
And-
calling Tommy Sansoni last couple times.
Sansoni?
That's who, so.
He was at the
Sue-
Legion. He did the roof at Town Hall, some of the hot roof, I think.
Okay,
Anyway, that's one guy.
yeah, Sue did text him and gave him the park's phone number. I haven't yet to hear from him. So I may try and get his number from her and just call and ask him to stop out to give us a quote.
He should be on the list then.
Yeah. But I think get some quotes for that and get that rolling.
We
'cause-
just had the roof done at the theater, Michigan City,
Mhm.
but they're a young company, I believe, and we were incredibly satisfied with the work. Well, it's a 42-year-old, or the building was built before 1940.
Oh, okay.
And
Mhm.
so Moore Roofing, Moore,
Okay.
Moore.
Mhm.
I don't know if they'll come over this way. But the price was good,
Okay.
because that's a huge building.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
this one should
shingles
be-
and labor was 15 grand.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
For that
kind because I think it was a
They gave-
nonprofit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
well, no, that was the price they quoted us, and then they knocked 3 grand off of that.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So,
Okay. Some
Yeah.
more roofing. I'll look into them.
yeah, just look into them.
Okay. 'Cause we
Tell
just
them
wanna
you
go ahead
got a
and redo the
reference
whole-
to them from someone at the Dunes Arts Foundation.
Yeah, that whole roof needs to be
Yeah.
redone.
It's so small, there's really no reason not to do the whole roof. Just have-
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, JB West is over there, and you see their sign, their Michigan City, and you see their
Yeah.
signs all
Oh,
over
yeah.
here.
Well, Sue's big thing is, because I told her, I said, we're gonna have to turn it into insurance. I said, I don't have that kind of money.
Mhm.
Well, I said, well, how much is our deductible? She goes, probably 1,000. I said, well, 1,000 I can swing.
Yeah.
She goes, well, don't you think the roof is gonna cost about that much? I said, no.
Nowhere. Yeah.
The shingles will,
Yeah. I said,
But
that's,
if they're
I said, that's
lucky,
not
at
gonna,
least cost
I said, that's not
1,000.
gonna cover it, Sue. I
Depends what
said-
the
She's
the
like, well-
structure looks like.
Well,
Yeah,
and
and
then
then you
she, it's the famous New Chicago thing of, well, do we know anybody who can do that? I said, yeah, you have a whole contractor list, Sue. I said, and that's who we're gonna use as one of the people off that list.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, no, don't we know anybody who can do it? I said, Sue, the days of putting Band-Aids on gunshot wounds are done. I said, I'm not gonna piecemeal this thing.
Yeah,
I said, because then further on down the line,
right,
The whole
it's gonna
roof will
cost us
collapse.
even more that I don't have now.
yeah.
I said, and,
Yeah, and you're
well,
right.
we didn't have that many things on our insurance. That's why we got such a low rate. I said, right. And this is the first time the parks is putting something on it.
In how many years? Yeah.
About 3, because we did the fence the one year,
Well,
but.
yeah, but that was no fault of our own.
Yeah,
Right.
That was because somebody ran into it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Hopefully they got sued by the insurance.
And we should consider gutters on it as well
Yeah.
when we do
Oh, yeah.
this. Because
well, the
we are
gutters won't
having,
be included by insurance.
no, I know that, but we should get that in the price. So insurance may cover the roofing repairs and we pay for the gutters. They won't be that expensive.
Okay,
Gutters, I mean, we could ask for a bid on that, and if they are too
Mm.
expensive, then we can consider hanging them ourselves because it's not a huge structure. It's
yeah,
not an
Yeah.
impossible task, but we get a bid on it.
yeah,
yeah.
Um,
And
the
it's
other,
not a funky
well,
shape.
but because part of the problem, and I suspect that it is not just the fact that it's a cinder block building, but we have efflorescence on the inside in the
Oh,
washrooms,
yeah.
which is increasing,
Yeah.
and that's from moisture there because there's no moisture barrier.
Mm-hmm.
I did seal,
Mhm.
coat and seal all the cracks before
Mm.
we painted the mural on the end of that building, and it helped for 1 year. And now the issue is back. So when I look at the bathroom, what is happening is the paint is streaking downwards,
Mm.
not just growing outwards.
Mhm.
So
Alright.
that leads me to believe that that's a roof issue. I'm not a contractor, I'm not a
Mhm.
roofer, but
Yeah,
does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think
Okay.
we would the options would be either we get gutters put on there or we make sure there's enough of an overhang. There's not
Get it away from the
moisture
building.
going back
Yeah.
down into that cinder block.
It's not
Yeah.
gonna stop what's happening in the bathroom, but it will prevent it from getting worse, I think.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, once that moisture's seeping in there, it's in there and you have to, like, I think chemically remove it or sandblast it off or something. I don't know.
Okay, so but
Another matter
it's not
altogether.
something that's posing a dangerous risk to the public.
No, it's just
Okay.
unsightly
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
and
Um,
gross
No, it's not
Well,
looking.
the mortar
I'm-
of the wall.
Well,
I'm
yeah, the
more-
mortar of the walls is jeopardized by this.
Okay,
So
So-
that, every time they lay a course of blocks.
right,
that-
no, I
Yeah.
get that, I'm thinking, are we looking at mold? Like, how soon is it gonna turn into black mold that we can't use the bathrooms?
Well,
That's-
that's hard to say. You'd have
Right.
to have somebody that knows about that. This is a white efflorescence
Like a
thing.
crystal.
It's the stuff
like a
that we get
crystal.
on the,
That white
Right.
powder, fluffy stuff.
Right, but what I'm saying, so that's not,
when is it a hazard?
when are we looking at a hazard that,
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
And I don't
That's-
know
okay.
what else is growing. There's some cement blocks. You don't know what's growing in there with a lot of paint on them.
right, but the paint could be blocking. a
I
lot
don't
of
see
that
any
stuff.
black mold now.
Okay.
That's the
think
question
it's-
you're asking.
If it's there, it's sealed in.
So, okay,
It's got paint over it.
my thing was, is this an immediate hazard?
It has not
And-
reached the last of us level
Okay.
yet.
We're not at critical.
Okay, that's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to get at, so I
Yeah.
can figure out, because I'm like, okay, add on separate bid for gutters, oh, we got this, do I need to get a bid for this right
Yeah.
now?
Do we need to do mold removal?
No, but
Yeah.
while,
Condemn
yeah,
it.
Right.
while we're getting the roof, we should get gutters.
Gutters, yes,
Because that will help.
right,
Um,
okay.
The
So
problem won't be
the,
as
the
severe.
wall is not an immediate, I have to get a bid
No.
today.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was going for, was how, because now I'm looking at it going, okay, well, gutters are
Yeah,
probably
but
gonna
they
be
would be different.
grand.
Those
you
would be
know.
different contractors too.
Right.
So, yeah, right now it's just with the roof, just
It's not
ask.
on the
I'm-
call
I'm-
list for this week.
I'm looking at the $25,000 we have for the year and going, how much am I gonna have to go to the council and say, hey, we need an extra appropriation?
Right.
Um,
Well, I think,
so,
you can.
but if
buy-
it's something that we don't have to do today, I'm not,
It's not on the call list for
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah, it's not on the call list. no.
okay,
It's just a sign that there may be some damage to the roof underneath
right,
the shingles that are currently there, to
Okay.
the structure part of it.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's good.
We'll,
And an
we'll know when they got
indication
into
would
it.
be a
Yeah.
wise investment.
Okay, that's more where I was going for
Breathe.
there.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right, so get quotes for roof and gutters. Any other business?
I don't know.
Dave, anything to,
I can't think of nothing.
Mulch is still kind of on the back burner right now, right?
as,
We talked about mulch in the playground area.
yeah, if we're doing the building, we can't do anything
Okay.
mulch related.
Because that money would be
So-
going.
Yeah, we'd be using money from the building fund to
All right. That's where we're at.
do the mulching. And we can't use.
So
can't use the
how are we gonna
CDBG.
maintain the playgrounds then? Because that means somebody does need to come out on pretty much a weekly basis to eliminate the weeds. Chemical is not doing the trick. And it's nasty weed whipping because it's thistles now. And that's not a fun place to play. It's the big playground. So this is something we need to talk about, how we're gonna do that.
So we started,
Because we talked
I
about
hate
it in a
these
couple
reports.
meetings.
yeah, and we were going to use part of the building fund money to do that.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
It's only a couple
Got-
grand though, I think, to do
got
that
this
one.
just kind of dropped on us with the CDBG because,
Yeah.
Right. It was a couple grand for that main play, that would be enough to cover that playground area. So we could come up with some way for fundraising on that, other than taking from the
Yeah.
building fund. And make it a town kind of, like if we do a few, raffles or something. I don't know, we just need to put our heads together and think about it because none
Okay.
of us have the time to mow weekly or to weed whip in there, because that is time consuming.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I can try to get out there while I'm out there for lunch and learn.
But
try
you
to clean
can't,
up
you
some-
can't because the kids are there.
Well,
and
no,
they-
when I go earlier in the morning, I'll try to.
Oh, I was gonna say,
But maybe
So it's
we do
just-
look for another opportunity where we push the banner program. I start making some calls and get the banner program going, see if that generates enough for.
now that we have the phone number, we can
We can-
mobilize on that one.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, because I don't think we should get into the building fund, because not with this
I agree.
opportunity in front
I
of
agree.
us.
yeah.
I
Um,
wasn't sure where that money would be coming from. How
And
much do we have in donations?
It was 2.
$2,000, wasn't it?
over $2,000, I think.
Maybe we look at that
$3,000.
as a way to, we raised part of the cost of the mulch and use part of the donation monies? Because we don't have,
Yeah, it's, I just need to have Tammy give me a breakdown without this goddamn number on there, because that messes me up every time.
what is that one?
It shows our full account balance and not the actual, what
Oh.
we were appropriated and what we spent.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that's the part that is the
Yeah.
important part, because we've got, at the end of last month, we had $40,825 in the account. We started off the year only appropriated for 25.9 though. So how much of that 25.9 have we spent
Yeah.
Right.
is the thing. And that's what
Yeah.
Okay.
my brain keeps going back to that, going, okay, we have 25.9, we just paid out 1,000 in insurance and,
Yeah.
The flock cameras.
which-
and-
yeah.
Yeah,
Where
we
are we
have other
actually at?
expenses in
Right.
Lipsco and they'll,
And that's why I need to see how much we've actually
yeah, if we can,
spent
Okay.
and
but that's
where we
one.
can pull from.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is-
But this is something I think we could all think about,
Yeah.
if we come up with any magic.
Yeah.
And I will keep, now that, we have a clear idea where we're headed with the CDBG, and,
Yeah,
because I was kind of looking at grants opportunities that might help us float a building, but wasn't finding much.
Yeah.
But there might be some smaller, like we might be able to approach
Mhm.
another local business that wants to give us $100 so that they get their name on a sign, this playground mulched by, or,
Yeah.
that's $100 is not much to get your
Yeah.
name on a sign that people see every
Right.
day at the
Yeah.
park, right? So we might come up with a little sponsorship package of that sort
Yeah.
that could help flesh out our bankroll on the mulching.
Something about like safety something supplied by
Mhm.
this store. or
You know,
whatever.
beautification and enhancements or whatever, you know? You know, there are local ones like I have, if we could approach Ace Hardware for one.
Yeah.
When I went to them for Dark in the Park, they were like, you gotta hit us earlier in the year.
Mhm.
We do. We give to local community things. They don't give a lot, but you get a little bit here and you go to the next company and you say, we got this from Ace, you know, and would you like to be
Yeah.
part of our list? Maybe we write a little package thing up, put some ideas together, say, we can put some mulch in the playground so the kids aren't playing in thistles for X number of dollars. Do you want to be part of that? We'll put your name on a big sign.
Yeah.
Okay. Tony and I'll work out some thoughts on that and share them with you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, so that it's
Yeah.
not quite such, yeah, mulch.
This is why I think we should forego the 55th anniversary, but.
Well, we haven't, we have
Yeah.
postponed it
I
and we
know,
haven't recommitted to it, so.
yeah, I get that. I'm looking at the ever-growing list of things and my head is
Well-
spinning, so.
Well, yeah, well, parcel
Let's-
things out to us too, so that it isn't, you know, you don't have to do it all.
We already have. You're taking care of the signs, I'm doing the roof, you're doing the signs for Dark in the Park.
Mhm.
You know, but this is all stuff we have to coordinate on still, that we're gonna be sending information back and forth and this and that, and,
Yep.
you know, it's,
Mhm.
I'm looking at it and also looking at, you know, what my work schedule is looking like, your guys's,
Mhm.
you know, we need more help than
We
hard for-
than what we get.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
we don't have, you know, if we could get more board members, but we can't, we're confined by law, so, you know, but we need other people that might want to step up and help volunteer.
Yeah,
So,
and I thought we could do one, I thought the board was a max of 5, but I could be
no, I think
wrong.
I thought you looked it up and said it was 4.
That could be,
That's what's in my head, but
yeah,
my head's stuffed with other stuff, so.
so, but yeah,
Well, you know, we don't have to do the 55th,
yeah.
but if we can do it gracefully without, you know,
I'm
killing
I'm
ourselves.
looking at all the other money we're spending,
but we
and
don't,
then we're gonna spend money on a celebration that's not gonna bring anything in.
if we have a date, it's a
Mhm.
one-time celebration, I can ask for money from Legacy. That's a rolling deadline for an event,
Mhm.
and that would purchase whatever it is we think we need for that in the terms of refreshments and, you know, publicity.
Okay,
So, because we don't need that much, and they'd be happy to give us some money this year.
yeah,
So,
okay.
Unless their
Let's-
funding gets
Let's
pulled.
look at that and,
Mhm.
we can discuss that more,
Yeah.
so.
well,
I don't know
Yeah.
about you, but I'm hungry and tired and I have a headache. So all of this is just
Kind of,
overwhelming. It's
Yeah.
overwhelming to look at.
Are you making a motion to adjourn?
I do believe,
so moved.
I would like to make them, if we're in agreement, because I've been outside all day. I've been sandblasted. So
yeah,
I'm just overwhelmed at this point, looking at everything we're doing.
yeah.
I think
Let's adjourn.
the work
I'll
schedule
make
has
the
gotten
motion to
me.
adjourn. Do I have a second?
I will second it.
All right. And some of the stuff we can pick up the next meeting.
There we go.
Sounds like a plan.
All right,
These
let
are
me go
not-
stop.
Correct?
The live stream. Let's stay live this whole time.
Are you serious?
Yay.
Did it?
Not our
Wow.
fault.
It's staying live.
Getting up.
Now, are we supposed to move our chair?